everybody, welcome to the Comic Game Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I'm here to review Halloween Ends, the third and final movie of the Halloween franchise. Now, this movie is, well, I guess technically it would be the fourth movie since it got a soft reboot in 2017 that erased every movie after the first movie, and it's technically the fourth movie of the Halloween franchise, like canon-wise. But either way, you know, like let's put it this way. I really thought that the one in 2017 was really fucking good. Outside of that stupid twist with the doctor and he's the one who let him out and all this shit, outside of some of those stupid twists, I thought it was good. I thought it was good. I thought it was great. Like I said, outside of some of those stupid twists, and really that was the only part that I really didn't dislike. But other than that, I loved it. I love the reintroduction of Michael Myers. I love the introduction of Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode. Schrodinger? I'm just calling Laurie for now. As Laurie, I like the introduction of her daughter, and I like the idea of her being held down by this moment in this character, and like it was very fascinating. It was like this interesting character piece particularly for Jamie Lee Curtis as this traumatized woman who survived something, and it's held on to her and she can't let go. And everyone around her is telling her to let go, but she can't let go. And to this day, it has one of my all-time favorite scenes in any horror movie ever of all time, which is Michael Myers deciding that he was going to try to be a door-to-door salesman, but instead of selling you something, he stabs you in the neck. Michael Myers just systematically walking from house to house, walking into people's houses, killing them, and then walking out, and no one even noticing it, because it had occurred to me that, and like, at least where I'm at, I don't, but a lot of people leave their doors unlocked. Or maybe they don't leave their front doors unlocked, but they leave doors unlocked. There's like I know people who leave doors unlocked. And like in my brain, I always thought, well, I was like, oh man, that'd be crazy. Like something could happen. Nothing's ever happened. And I've never heard of anybody it happening to, personally. But the possibility is always there when you leave your door unlocked, is some dude could just walk into your house. And the idea, and like, it felt so real to me that something like that could have happened. I mean, this is Halloween. People are celebrating it hard. You know, everyone's walking around in costumes and stuff. There are creepy people all over the place. There are creepy things all over the place. No one would notice some dude in a Halloween costume walk into your house. They would just assume he was fucking around. They would just assume he was just like trick-or-treating. Or he lived there. He's not looking suspicious. He's just walking. And I was just like, yeah, dude, that could totally fucking happen. It felt so visceral, and how easy he was doing it. It was just like, yo, that whole sequence was so scary. And you had the theme playing, that whole sequence in that 2017 one was just, loved it. Oh, it was so good. Then we get Halloween Kills, which that came out like last year, I think. And that movie was a step back. First of all, Laurie she was in the movie, but she didn't do anything because she was in a hospital bed the whole time. Her and the deputy. The town, it was interesting when you thought, it seemed like it was gonna be interesting, but at the end of the day, the movie was just written so poorly. Some of the dialogue was really bad. Things just did not make sense at all. And in the end, outside of the admittedly awesome and gory kills that were admittedly great and worth the price of admission by themselves, the story and the characters and all of it, story, characters, common sense, logic, all took a back seat. And it was just like, what the fuck is this movie other than these kills? And there was nothing really good. There's nothing really there outside of the kills. So the second movie was a step back. Halloween Kills was a step back for me personally in terms of the character stuff, because that's what I thought was cool. I was like, we can have the kills and stuff, just let's still have the character stuff too. Which like I said, the character stuff took a step back for the kills. And now we get to Halloween Ends. Now, I don't think, depending on how much money this movie makes, I don't think many of us thinks this is the last movie, though Jamie Lee Curtis said that this is her last movie, which I believe her, because Jamie Lee Curtis has been, first of all, she was retired, kind of out of the game for a while, and really, really, she does sporadic, once in a blue moon things. Like she showed up in Knives Out and stuff like that. She'll do something like that once in a blue moon. She'll show up in a project. I believe she showed up on that one show that was on Fox, that it was Fox or NBC, I can't remember, but that Scream Queen, like it was like a spoof of serial killers. I think she showed up in that. She was a character in that. But Jamie Lee Curtis does not show up in a lot, really. She does not do a lot. She's very selective about her projects, and it feels like someone who is really like comfortable and really. She's in that Harrison Ford mold right now. She's in that Harrison Ford area where she's done everything. She's probably made as much money as she possibly wants to make, and she doesn't need to be in anything. She doesn't need it. You know, even though Jamie Lee Curtis is arguably the first, like, the most iconic final girl, I'd probably say. It's like her and that Sydney girl. Like, Jamie Lee Curtis is probably one of the most iconic, if not the most iconic final girl in a slasher movie. So, you know, she says she's not coming back. So I believe her when they say that this is it, that they're going to do it again. They might still do a Halloween movie, but if they do another one, it's probably going to be a reboot. All that. And now I finally start talking about this movie. Really, I talked about all that because honestly, there's a lot that happens in this movie that is just heavy spoilers. This movie is a very strange and complex film. It's equally dumb, but also thought-provoking at the same time. I'm not sure how that is. It's like a fucking homeless man on the side of the road who just drops this incredible bit of knowledge on you, and then he shits his pants. It's like, well, he can't be completely useless, because, I mean, he's got this incredible thing he just said. I mean, that was pretty profound. But then he just shit his pants, so how fucking smart is he? Like, that's the best description I could come up with this film. Because the first 30 to 40 minutes of this movie is great. I think so. I think it's great. There's a cold opening. There's a cold open that is really cool, really unpredictable and different and unique. And it's set up for a reason. It's not just done just because it's done. There's a reason they did it. And the first 30 minutes is so interesting because, like, I'm not gonna do heavy spoilers, but the movie takes place 4 years after the events of Halloween Kills. No one knows what happened to Michael Myers. He just disappeared. And we figured, and which was a shocker to me, I thought, probably like many other of you, that this movie was going to take place immediately after the events of the last movie. We're just going to immediately pick up. That's not what happened. Michael Myers has been missing, and essentially, the loom of his killing spree is just like weighing in the air, screwing with people, because he's out there, he's out large, and it's screwing with people's heads. People are still grieving and hurting. But ironically, Laurie, and her granddaughter, at least it appears like that in the beginning. I don't want to spoil anything. She comes to the conclusion, like, she, instead of going back into a shell, because you think she would, right? If she stayed locked up in a fucking, and in the equivalent of a death trap, and the equivalent of Fort Knox with bear traps and, guns at the armory down in the basement. If she had that place locked and loaded and ready to go for just in case he ever showed up. If she was living like that for at least 30 years, give or take, you figure in 4, with him out and about, she would be even double down on it. Her and her niece, her granddaughter would double down on that. But she actually tries to take a different approach. She tries to forgive the things that happen and move past them and live a life. And she's so full of joy, like not joy, but optimism, hope. And it's really irradiating off of her from the last 2 movies where it was just dread and regret and anger. And this is like her hopeful. She's moved into a house. She's like, she's trying to move forward. And everyone in the town is going through different stuff in their own, whatever. And it was such an interesting first 30 to 40 minutes where it was just a drama about people recovering from a tragedy. Like, honestly, that's what it was. Like, if they didn't say Michael Myers, you didn't hear him on the radio, you wouldn't even have thought about him. It felt like it was just a drama about people recovering from an awful thing, an awful tragedy that happened. And some people are recovering easier than others. Then it takes a weird turn. And it's about at that 40-minute mark when it turns that you start to get, that you start to go, okay, this is what people have been talking about. Because all yesterday, I kept seeing people talk about, yo, this movie has some twist. It goes in a direction that is going to divide people. And in my mind, I was like, what the fuck is divisive? What exactly do you mean? And this one is gonna, I don't know if it's gonna be as divisive as Season of the Witch. Some of you hardcore fandoms, and I remember back in the day, they tried to do a spin-off series of the Halloween franchise, spin-off series of movies. It was gonna be called this, and it was gonna be like movies, and it was supposed to be movies that were gonna be like isolated incidences. Like what happened, like, it was supposed to pretty much say what happened with Michael Myers is not out of the ordinary. Something supernatural happened with him, but something supernatural is happening around the world at least America on Halloween. And Season of the Witch didn't even have Michael Myers in it. Nowhere to be seen. It was crazy. And they marketed this as Halloween 3. And like, it was an interesting concept that they were pushing, but it was not very well received. And I didn't particularly like it either, because even in my mind, I was like, dude, I come to watch Michael Myers. It's like going to watch it would be like watching a Nightmare it'd be like watching a Friday the 13th movie. If it turns, and at the end of the movie, it turns out that Jason isn't the one killing people. It's just like two guys dressed up like Jason, pretending to be him. It'd just be like, what? They're like, you know what I mean? It's just like, well, I mean, shit, man, what the fuck? What is this? Or it'd be like a Friday the 13th movie, but it's not at Crystal Lake. It's at some other lake, and it's about some other dude killing people. And it's like, how is this a Friday the 13th movie? And that's how I felt about it. That same level of divisiveness that Season of the Witch had is gonna be here, because this movie takes a particular swing that I don't know how I feel about. And that's the best description I guess about this movie. By the time it wrapped up, I still, after an hour or two, don't know how I feel about it. I think it's better than than Halloween Kills. At the very least, it makes more sense. At the very least, they have more logical decisions. At the very least, it's better written, but not that much better written, because there's still things that are stupid. There's still things that are inconsistent. There's still things that you're just like, I don't get that. And by the time it wraps all up, you're still kind of like, I don't know, man, this is fucking nuts. And like I said, I'm not sure. But overall, it is better than Halloween Kills. But it's not as good as that first one. It's not as good as that 2017 one. I think that 2017 one found a nice balance of having character, story, and the over-the-top great kills from Michael Myers we all come to enjoy and see. The sequel it's like they went two different directions, man. Because there are kills in this. And there are some really good kills in this. But like I say, they all kind of happen in a cluster. Like, because the movie's an hour and 50 minutes. About an hour and 45 minutes, give or take. And like, most of the kills happen in the back, like in a cluster of like 20 minutes. Like a 20-minute cluster, just kills happen. So it's like, you know, so for the first hour, it's a weird-ass movie. Like for the first 30 minutes, it's a really great drama, and for the next 30 minutes, it's a weird, and then it gets weirder, and then it gets stupid, and then it gets complicated, and then it's over, and you're like, wow, okay, that happened. If I had to give Halloween Kills a grade, score, I give it a 6 out of 10. Like, it was definitely fascinating. It was a fascinating watch, and I have to give them at least a bump for the effort of trying to do something different. Even if it didn't completely work, and even if sometimes it just felt a little ridiculous. Like, oh man, this movie's gonna be real controversial. Put it this way, if you liked Halloween Kills, I don't think you're gonna like this one. Anyways, thank you guys for joining the Cow Game Movie Show. Please like, subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.